Good morning, it's Jonathan Barratt with the morning debrief. It's the 20th of October and the current time is 7:02. A little bit of an upset last night for the Dow, down quite a bit, just under 2%. Other equity markets also took a bit of a spill. Concerns on obviously mortgages and the banks having to provide and buy back those soured mortgages. Also concern on an oversupply in some commodities and the fact that the economies are not strong enough to be able to allow commodities to pass through the economy profitable. We've seen that example with oil, which we've mentioned quite a few times. We've got too much supply and we're just not actually getting any uptake. Tonight we've got the Department of Energy data, so that'll conclude what we're actually thinking there. But we certainly had a rather large spill, excuse the pun, in oil last night, down quite a bit. But let's have a bit of a regroup and let's have a look at some of the markets and what's actually happened there. And there we go. Dow, as we mentioned, was under pressure. Let's just grab that up. There we go. Dow, as we mentioned, down 179 points, 1.61%, 10,963. S&P was down 20 at 1164. Nasdaq was off 50 at 2430. The euro was down 13. That's the top 50 there. The FTSE was down 38, and the CAC was down 27. The DAX was down 26 at 6,490. The local market closed down 40 at 4,629. Seems to be a little bit of concern trying to get that 4720. That's the big area for us. It's something we've noted to a lot of our clients, so that if it gets through that, then we can see a trending market. But up until that, I think we are still ranging. So if anything there, a little bit of a correction there. Now let's have a look at general commodities now. That's interesting. We've still got that rough rice. That rough rice trade, we said rough rice would be up around 25%. That's actually last night traded to that target, so I was quite happy with that. But more close to home, let's have a look at it. Crude market naturally under pressure. Last night's high was 83.23. This is something which I see we've got more downside for crude. $75 US is a target which I can look at. Copper also came back from its highs, 373. A little bit negative on copper as well. Leading into the northern hemisphere winter, probably expect copper prices to come back quite dramatically. Gold also came back quite a lot, 1332 after having a high of 1370. That correction's underway as well, and probably see that coming back to 1300, probably a little bit lower than that. Silver also correcting, and obviously with these commodities correcting, you've also got to say that Aussie will also correct, and that's what's happened. The Aussie came down 200 points last night, and it looked set to come back to that 95 and 93 area. So if you're an importer and you haven't locked in, probably suggest it's probably wise to do some at the moment. Dollar index, what's happening there? Now it's quite interesting with those comments from Timothy Geithner suggested that the US dollar cannot remain weaker. In fact, they don't want it to weaken, and that to me has signalled a turnaround in rhetoric, and as a result of that, US dollar to go firm. That will put ease pricing on commodities and allow commodities to be able to clear profitably. This is an important step that we have talked about. And I feel that if commodity prices come under pressure, economies will be able to burden the weight of those prices, and as a result of that should stimulus. I think throwing money at it is the wrong thing. I think that throwing money via quantitative easing doesn't work at the moment. We don't have any momentum. And I think that's why it's quite important to focus on the fact that lower commodity prices as a result of lack of supply and demand, or lack of demand, is the right thing, because that allows the commodities to actually clear profitably. Or we can see them to get to a level where demand makes it more profitable, and as a result of that, economies have a really good chance of moving. I think the market perhaps is a little bit too smart, but I think they've now come back into line, and as a result of that, I certainly feel that commodity prices can correct for a while to come, and but they'll only find good areas to actually come in and buy. Okay, so moving on, we've talked a little bit about that. Dollar yen, the Aussie, the correction, the commodities. When you look at some of the softs as well, let's have a quick look at the local market. 46.28. As you can see, it's finding a lot of time to try and get through the top side. It's not actually making it. Probably expect the market to come back to 45.80. Let's see what happens from there, maybe a little bit lower. But anything at the moment, I think things are a little bit weak. If I take a quick look at the Dow, and where the Dow's actually trading, we do that via the mini here, you can see that looks like a little bit of correction is underway there. Slight little bit of divergence as well here, so I probably expect to see weakness in the equity markets over the coming days, maybe even week. Right, okay, so that's looking at those. Let's have a quick look at what's actually coming out tonight. And we've got Bank of Japan governor speaking. We've got the leading index out of Japan, which will be widely watched. Some IP data out of Italy. Bank of England and Bank of England minutes are coming out as well. M4, which will be very important. In the States, we've got all the gasoline stuff and also the Fed beige book, so that's going to be quite important. Also, to be interesting, we've got Lacker speaking on the Fed, and it might be interesting to see what sort of policy adjustments he's got, or just iterating some sort of policy adjustments, because I think, as I said, the quantitative easing measure is not working, and when we've got more concerns out there, I think they might want to see more flight to the US dollar, more flight to quality to that, to help ease the burden of higher commodity prices. So I think that's going to be quite interesting. Well, that's about it from me. Let's everyone have a good day, and we'll try and talk to you tomorrow, and it's going to be a fun couple of days, I think. Okay, have fun.